Hey YouTube, Sailor Sweet here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is going to hopefully be the first video of many more videos. We'll see how this ends up going. But my intent for this first series of video for you guys is to take you all on my adventure learning the Spirit. I really enjoy playing Spirit, actually. I'm pretty dog shit at it. But I also haven't played her too much. Like, I'll play her when the daily challenges come up, or there's a couple like the tome archives that require Spirit, that sort of thing. But I haven't played her with any sort of consistency at any point. I've been playing for, I think, about 2 years now. I started playing in between Nemesis and Pinhead. But I have not played much Spirit at all. I would probably say I have got somewhere around maybe 20 games on tap with her, maybe a little bit more than that, but I really haven't played her all that much. So the idea here is to basically walk through my learning process, talk about what I'm thinking, what I'm learning, why I'm doing the things I'm doing, hopefully getting some feedback along the way, as I'm sure I'll make many mistakes. But the idea is to first and foremost learn how to play Spirit well. Like, I understand obviously at this point like how to phase, how to hit the buttons and stuff, but to how to really play her well and be able to find survivors, and when the survivors mind game you when you're phasing, how to react to that, which seems very difficult so far. I've been watching videos. I think Tofu has some, Ray has some. I think I watched one or two from Odds. Of course, there's a ton of other streamers out there that have got how to play Spirit videos. I've also watched a couple of how to counter Spirit, because that's going to be, you know, what the survivors try to do to counter you. So you should know what that is in order to counter it. Once I get kind of a good handle on playing her effectively, just base level effectiveness, or base level effectively, I want to learn how to play her competitively. So I recently joined Team Mirage, a competitive Dead by Daylight team, which I'm very excited about. I'm on there right now as a sub-survivor, as one of the backup folks, which is really cool because they're all way better than me. But I would like to at some point be able to play killer for the team, but actually be good at it, because no one wants to go out into a competitive scene and then just get totally curb stomped. So that is the final goal, is to be able to play a competitive Spirit in Dead by Daylight and not get, you know, 0 kills. Ideally we'd get 4 kills at 5 gens, but you know, we'll see. Let's temper our expectations for a little bit. But first, we can go over all of our stuff, and then I'll kind of explain the build that I'm running and my thought process behind it. So her power, for those of you who don't know, Yamakota's Haunting, basically lets her phase. When you phase, you can't see any survivors. You can't see the pools of blood. They also can't see you. They have an idea of where you are based on the sound you make as you move around, and it is directional. You can use that to your advantage, is what I've learned. But not being able to see them, it's very sound based. So the unfortunate part about these videos is that I'm gonna have to be quiet at many times when I'm trying to listen and hear where survivors are. There are a few nuances, like when people put down items, it makes the same grunt noise as when they're slow vaulting. So that's something to be aware of. I don't know how many survivors actually know about that. Hopefully none. Obviously I do, so if you do. But that being said, it's going to be very listening intensive. So I'm gonna apologize for that on the front end if I'm too quiet. I will try to talk though when I'm not phasing, trying to find somebody. So yeah, she can traverse freely to a new location. She does leave a husk behind, so you can use that to block things. It does have collisions, so you will block survivors from doing certain things if you put it in the right spot. All you see are their scratch marks. You hear their sounds. You can see grass moving, that sort of thing. So these are the things you're going to be looking for. And then when you come out of your power, you end up where you are rather than where the husk is. The power recharges pretty slowly. There's some add-ons to help with that. I've heard from many people that it's actually better to learn without any of these speed add-ons, which is unfortunate because I really enjoy the speed add-ons. But I've been told that it gives you a really good base for just how her power works in general. And then, of course, once you get more comfortable with it, you can start altering speeds, and that really gives you an advantage rather than being something you rely on, which seems good. So we're going to try that. So I'll probably do a couple of games without add-ons, which are probably going to be absolutely miserable. And then I might jump into the brown add-ons. Excuse me. Jump into the brown add-ons and then move up to the yellow ones. And eventually the green. In competitive Dead by Daylight, at least right now as it stands, Spirit cannot use any of her ultra rares or very rares. So I'm not even going to bother practicing with them because they're not going to come in handy. But for reference, if anyone's ever watching this video, the Dry Cherry Blossom is a fucking trap. Don't use it. I've heard this from many, many people. I'm sure if you found my video, you've probably found many other videos that say the same thing. It gives you killer instinct when you're near a survivor, when you're phasing, and while that sounds like a great thing, it becomes something you gain as a crutch before it actually is going to help you. So especially if you're new and learning, so many people online have said, do not use this to learn. Similar thing with Mother-Daughter Ring. Yes, it gives you great speed, but you don't see any scratch marks or anything, which can make it difficult. I thought there was another one, maybe not. Most of them are speed related. I'm not going to go through all her add-ons. You can find a OTS video for that or something somewhere. But arguably the best add-ons that I will eventually be moving towards, for competitive, probably the Rusty Flute, which increases your recharge speed by 40%, which is awesome. Again, like I said, her recharge is pretty slow, which can be punishing. So having this faster recharge can be very helpful. As well as probably the Muddy Sports Cap, which increases the movement speed while phasing. Also good. And then another good one is the White Hair Ribbon, which increases the charge speed by 20%. So these are all good. Most of the brown ones are just variations or like lower levels of the other ones. So I will, I guess, kind of slowly ease my way into that as I get more and more comfortable. I'll probably not go beyond that. The perks that she has, let me just pull them up real quick. So her 3 perks, Spirit Fury is the first one. When you break 2 pallets, the next time you get stunned, the entity breaks the pallet automatically, which is nice. You still get stunned. You have to go through the stun animation, but you don't have to break the pallet then. I've played a couple games with this. It's pretty good. It's nothing to call home about, but it's come in clutch a few times, so I probably won't play with it. I've already done my Spirit Adept, so meh. Haunted Ground is a Hex Totem, actually creates 2 Hex Totems. When one of the survivors cleanses one of them, the other one becomes a Dull Totem, and then everyone's exposed for 60 seconds, in which case you can run around and find them all and down them immediately. This one's nice. It has a little bit of RNG, right? Like depending where it spawns, how fast the survivors find it. If they cleanse it, and then once they do cleanse it, you have to find everybody, right? So if they find it right away and you haven't found any survivors yet, and your 60 seconds starts and you're on the other side of the map and, BFE Grim Pantry or something like that, sometimes it can kind of go to waste. Other times you're in the middle of a chase and someone cleanses it and you just start downing people and it's great. So kind of a double-edged sword. In my opinion, not too worth it, so I probably won't run this. And then the last one, Rancor. Rancor is pretty good. I do like it. It basically lets you, at the end of the game, it lets you down the obsession. They get exposed. You can down them right away, and then you can mori them. Throughout the game, though, every time a generator is finished, you will see the aura of all the survivors for 3 seconds, but then the obsession sees your aura for 3 seconds. So they know where you are, but you also know where everybody is. for at least those 3 seconds. One thing I have found with Rancor that tricked me the first few times is it will also give you the aura bubble for anyone on the hook. So there's been a few times where someone's on the hook, a gen will pop, and I'll see the little bubble for the person, and I'll think, oh, someone's there that's come to like get them off the hook, and then I run over there and they're just like sitting there like, what do you want? So be aware of that. But otherwise, yeah, pretty good perk. It's come in handy quite a few times, especially in the end game when your obsession's still alive. I haven't really leaned into it. Like, I don't purposefully leave my obsession alone so that I can Rancor them at the end. But when it comes up, it's great to have. So yeah, so that's Rancor. The current build that I'm running, which is probably almost going to be my comp build. I'm actually going to switch to this. I think this is what I'm going to want for my comp build. So it's going to be what I kind of practice with throughout to get used to it. I might switch things out here and there. Like you saw, I had Rancor on, which I'll probably leave for a while because it's fun and I'm learning. So it's nice to be able to kill someone at the end. Corrupt Intervention is always good. One of the best perks in the game. In the beginning, it blocks the 3 generators that are furthest away from you for 3 minutes. Or for 3 minutes. Wow, listen to me. 3 generators for 2 minutes. I have the yellow version, so it's not as good right now. But that's great because then it stops people from popping the first gen that they spawn next to, and it gives you a little bit of time to find people. So Corrupt's always very, very good on basically any killer. Pop Goes the Weasel is a clown perk. Once you hook somebody, you can go kick a gen, and it's going to lose 30% of its progress. So, of course, finding the gen with the most progression is going to give you the most value. Solid perk overall, very, very common and competitive. Unfortunately, I believe Pain Res is banned on Spirit, if I'm recalling correctly, which I'm pretty sure it is because she's S tier, or tier 1. That's what they're calling it now, tier 1. So Pop is really like the next best gen regression perk. Some might argue that it's better than Pain Res because you get it every time you hook somebody. So Pop's gonna go in there. Sloppy is nice because it keeps people injured. Having people injured when you're playing Survivor. Having people injured when you're playing Spirit's really good because you can hear them better when you're phasing, right? Healthy survivors are quieter, especially if they bring something like Iron Will, which is banned against Spirit and competitive. But in pubs and stuff, people can be running it and you're hardly going to hear them. But when someone's injured, well, not if they're running Iron Will, but if someone's injured, they're going to make a lot more noise, so you'll be able to find them better. So having something like Sloppy where it makes it harder for them to heal, especially if you can go bully them while they're healing or something like that, can be very, very good. I've seen a lot of people run this in conjunction with Nurses Calling on Spirit, specifically for that reason, so that you can find people healing and then go bully them so they stay injured, and then you have an easier time finding them when you're phasing. The last one is Noed. I'm not completely sold on this for my comp build. It is very good for competitive. It's very, very common. You'd see it in most builds. Basically, at the end of the game, everybody's exposed. It's a Hex Totem, so they can cleanse it. Everybody's exposed. You can one-shot down them, which is nice, especially if you still have if you still have a bunch of people up, or you really just want to get that one kill because you just got curb stomped. Survivors can find that totem pretty easily, especially after a few seconds. The aura is shown and the radius gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's one thing to consider. Most people, especially in the competitive scene, are going to expect Noed, so they're going to be looking for it right away. It is what it is. We'll see. I'm not a big fan of the Hex perks in general because survivors have the ability to take it away from you. But it can be good, so we'll see. This is my intended build for comp as of now. Of course, with the Rusty Flute that I mentioned does your recharge rate at 40%, and then the cap, which does your movement speed by 10%. I think that's going to be the move when I get to that level. However, right now, we're just kind of messing around, trying to learn in general. I'm going to leave Rancor on here for the most part. I'm not going to put any like pop or the gen kicking perks because I don't really intend to kick generators. I intend to chase people because that's what I want to focus on. I'm definitely going to get my ass kicked probably several times, but that's not the point. The point right now is trying to get into chases, phase while in those chases, and then learn how to deal with people's mind games and whatnot while phased in chase. So one of the tips that I think Ray mentioned in one of her videos was trying to get the hit normally. If you can, like, I don't know, sneak up on them or they give you a free hit, whatever, and then use your phase to chase them down once you know you can reach them. And when they're injured, they'll be kind of easier to find anyway. So if you can get the first hit normal and then chase them down with your phase, that is ideal. So that's probably what I'm going to start with at least and see where it takes us. Like I said, if you see things I'm doing wrong or want to give me other tips, I am very open to it. Like I said, I'm going to be hot, fiery trash for a while, so please don't make fun of me. But definitely give me tips because I'm all about that. So I suppose without further ado, we should just get into it, shouldn't we? All right, let's get into a game.